Hi, my name is Padgett and I am the founder of Redefining Sobriety. And in this video series, we're talking all about our mindset, how we talk to ourselves, how our brain works, and what that has to do with your relationship to alcohol. And in this video's topic, self-talk, it's so important, not only in terms of making a change around your relationship to alcohol, but chances are the way you talk to yourself has a lot to do with why you started using alcohol in the way that you did. We can often be so critical and judgmental of ourselves. We might have low self-esteem or anxiety or, not feel great in certain situations. And from a young age, we learn that alcohol can help us feel better in those situations. Or I know this was the case for me. I was super hard on myself. I pushed myself really, really hard. And alcohol was often the only escape that I had from my own brain, the only escape that I felt from the enormous amount of pressure that I put on myself. And the criticisms and the lack of liking myself. So I know, and maybe you can relate to this, that alcohol was great in a lot of ways because it took me out of my brain. It gave me a break, a chance to escape, a chance to think about something else, a chance to relax, a chance to have fun. And also it was my way of easing up on myself the next day. If I was hungover, then I didn't feel guilty about having a do nothing day or taking the day off or easing up on myself. But I didn't really know how to do that without alcohol. And so over the years and changing my own relationship to alcohol, I also really, really had to change how I talk to myself. And that's what this video is about. So one of my favorite reframes that has really helped me and a lot of my clients is to start looking at life as a big old research project. So one of my first mentors and somebody that I worked with years ago who taught me some art therapy and some really cool different healing techniques. Her name is Jenna Rizzo. I remember her saying, this is a long time ago, and it really stuck with me, and it actually took me a lot of years to really put it into practice. But I remember her saying to me, it's all research. That's all we're doing here. It's all research. Life is one big research project. We don't know really what's going to happen. We have no certainty over what happens next, and we often really try to control the outcomes and get hard on ourselves when things don't work out the way we want them to. And if we can start to shift and view everything that we're doing, including these changes we're trying to make in our lives, as research, then we can start to ease up on ourselves. So we're just testing out different hypotheses, we're trying different formulas. We are all unique people, and something that might work for me might not be exactly what works for you. And this is why redefining sobriety is such an important approach, because it really allows each and every person to figure out the best path and the best formula and the best plan that's going to work for you. And in my health coaching training with the Institute for Integrative Nutrition, we also learned about a concept called bioindividuality, which is exactly that also, that as humans, we are biologically, physiologically, we're all different. We are all really, really unique. And we also have a very unique set of life experiences, our familial relationships, our culture, our religion, what happened to us as a child. These are all things that shape the experience of being you, that shape the experience of being me. And it means that we need to approach with this research philosophy or this research idea, because I can't tell you exactly what's going to work for you, and you might need to figure it out. You will need to figure it out, and it might take some trial and error. And there's actually some really interesting studies that have come out that show that trial and error often help us learn in a certain way and have sustainable change more than just, say, a cold turkey decision. So cutting alcohol out completely, for example, without doing any work around it. Or having somebody force you to do something without it being your decision or your kind of testing ground means that you're much less likely to stick with that decision. So trial and error, figuring out your own path, deciding what's going to work for you can be really, really beneficial in terms of long-term change, and also really empowering you to figure out what's going to work best for you. So back to self-talk and how we communicate with ourselves. There's just a few tips that I want to share here with you. Basically, anytime you start finding yourself being really, really hard on yourself, Caitlin, how could you do that? You're so stupid. Didn't you know? Obviously that was going to happen. Or this person always does that. Or, why do you even try setting your intentions? Why do you even try doing something differently when you're just going to mess it up anyways? And these are all thoughts that I've had about myself, so I can relate, and that's why I used my own name. So a few ways to really shift just the way that we speak to ourselves is by using certain words like, well, I wonder why that happened. And again, that comes back to research. So I wonder why that happened, or I wonder why that was harder than I thought it was going to be. I wonder why I didn't follow through on my intentions, as opposed to, I can't believe I did that, that was so stupid, or why do I always fail? What's wrong with me? Why can't I do this? Going into a place of, I wonder why. I wonder why that was hard for me. I wonder why I didn't follow through. I wonder why that happened. It allows us to learn, and when we view ourselves with what I call compassionate curiosity, we're not as hard on ourselves. We're actually forgiving. We're actually treating ourselves as if we would lovingly treat a young child who really doesn't know. They're just trying to figure it out. If a child was trying to ride a bicycle for the first time and they got scared and jumped off before they started pedaling, or they put their feet on the ground, or they pedaled a few pedals and then fell over, or if you were trying to teach them how to steer and they swerved one way instead of the other way. If you were trying to really encourage this child to learn and really figure out how to ride the bicycle on their own, would you yell at them? Would you tell them that they're stupid? Would you say, well, look, you messed that up. Obviously, you suck at this. You're never gonna be able to do this. No. You would encourage them. You would ask them. You would also maybe ask them, well, why do you think that didn't work out? Or what was that about? Or how come you put your foot down? To learn, to try to figure out what was going on for them, why they did the things that they did the way that they did. So this is what compassionate curiosity means, and it's so important that we start treating ourselves like we would a child trying to figure out something new. Even though our evolved self and our mature self might feel like we should have this all figured out, we don't, and if you're repeating similar cycles, it's time to just ease up on yourself and acknowledge that this is harder than you thought it was gonna be. It's the result of a lot of deep conditioning and patterning and beliefs about yourself, some that does date back into childhood, and it's going to take some time. Another really quick reframe sometimes, which can actually be sort of fun to play with, and I learned this from Andrea Owen, who wrote the book How to Stop Feeling Like Shit. She just talked about how when she did something that she felt like was a mistake, or that she wouldn't have wanted to do, or it wasn't what her higher self really wanted for her, instead of being really hard on herself or treating herself like shit, she would say, well, that happened, or that was interesting. Taking the meaning away from it, not making it into a terrible thing that you've done or a bad thing, just, that was interesting, and then you can say, with the curious, compassionate curiosity, I wonder why that happened. That's interesting. Or, well, so that happened, and if I don't want it to happen again, what do I need to learn from this? So these are some of my favorite shifts in terms of how we start to talk to ourselves, or how we change how we talk to ourselves. It's all research. Well, that happened. That's interesting. I wonder why that happened, or I did that. I wonder what I can learn from this. I wonder what I could do differently. Framing everything with compassionate curiosity, and then just reinforcing to yourself. And I recorded another video called about the daily 3, which is a daily practice, which really also provides positive reinforcement for yourself. So make sure to check out that video as well. And if you want a really great resource that goes through all of the mindset shifts I just talked about here, the way we change how we talk to ourselves, also the daily 3, it's a really great workbook with some of my favorite tools that I used for myself and also with my clients. Make sure to click on the link below for the Mindset Success workbook, and let me know what you think about the resources. Let me know what you think about the worksheets or these videos. Make sure to click subscribe if you want to keep receiving them, and I'd love to hear from you and hear how this is going for you. And also, if you have any other questions or topics you'd like to see covered, make sure to let me know.